it's the same way that we know that the Bible is true over against any worldview or anything else. It really is just faith. Again, it's a reasonable faith. Like I don't think that I don't know a whole lot about the Quran, but I have looked into the Book of Mormon quite a little bit. I don't think that Mormons have a reasonable faith in the Book of Mormon. So, for example, when you consider that there is no archaeological evidence to back the claims of the Book of Mormon, they just say, well, not yet, but like we're quite far along in archaeology that they should find something, right, to support these claims. Whereas the Bible, again, the evidence is all they do or encourage the believer. They don't prove the Bible. I think that maybe what you're saying could theoretically be true, but not practically. And by that I mean, if the one who wrote all of the scriptures is always truthful and all-powerful, then what has been written by him will have evidence to its fact. So let's say that in this analogy that there is a God and he gives me faith to believe in his book, but his book is just full of lies. Well, that's not really God, right? That's Satan or something. So the God who created everything and knows everything and can do all things, what he writes in the book will be true, will have evidence to its fact. Yeah, or I guess rather than the Bible is true because it says it's true, this is still circular. It says the Bible is true because it was written by God. And how do we know that? Because the Bible says so. So there is some circular reasoning to it, but again, the Bible doesn't try to prove anything. It just asserts it.
Would you believe me if I told you that I walked on water?
No, I guess I would not. And part of it is the source. I don't really know you. I would like to, but I just don't know you.
Sure.
And then part of it also is the fact that for my worldview, that's not, even though there's miracles in the Bible, that's not something that just normally happens. I would probably first wonder, I would not immediately throw out the claim. I would be very skeptical because that's not something that just normally happens today. So I would, I guess, be more investigative, I suppose, and not just take him at his word.
Like look for evidence?
Yeah. But again, part of that could be because God did not give me the faith to believe what he's saying. I mean, I don't believe the Book of Mormon because I believe the Bible because God gave me the faith to believe in the Bible.
Yeah.
But I also see that it's also unreasonable for people to believe it. What makes the Ark unreasonable? That presupposes just flat naturalism, as if there isn't a God who could accomplish that via, well, I mean, what Tower of Babel, for example. Everyone is there at the Tower of Babel, building it, trying to get to heaven. God comes down, and he confuses their languages and scatters them across the world.
Mm-hmm.
Why couldn't he do that with plants and animals at the same time? The only way that the Ark would be impossible would be if you presuppose that God only used natural means to accomplish it all. I don't think that Mormons have a reasonable faith in the Book of Mormon. So, for example, when you consider that there is no archaeological evidence to back the claims of the Book of Mormon, I think part of the beauty of God's grace is that Christians are made to believe a foolish gospel. Paul goes in and preaches something that's just, to them, completely silly, and somehow many of them believe. Like, it just speaks to God's grace. Like, it is a foolish gospel that they shouldn't logically believe, but they just do.
Wait, would you believe with no evidence?
Would I believe with no evidence? Probably not. No.
And so what is the strongest piece of evidence that you say that you have for the Bible being true?
The strongest piece of evidence, and again, this is subjective in a way, would be the apostles' commitment to what they would have known was a lie. Here's the thing, is that evidence needs to be quality. There is records of Christ being a historical figure outside the Bible, and his believers, his followers, claiming that he rose from the grave, isn't there? We can imagine a lot of things, right? But I think it'd be difficult to imagine spending 40 days with somebody physically here on earth, eating with him, being taught by him, etc., seeing him ascend to heaven. Like, they would have either known that was true or false, as opposed to the well-meaning Muslim or Mormon who believes it because they just believe it. They would have either known it was true or false, and then they ended up suffering and dying for what they knew was a lie. Again, like, my ultimate faith in the Word of God is the circular part of God giving me the faith to believe it.
Yeah. But that's like the evidence.
It helps.
It's a strong piece of evidence.
It's a strong, to me, it is something that it actually makes it harder for me to disbelieve.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And if that wasn't there, that would be a cause for concern. If they're like...
Would I believe with no evidence? Probably not. No.